Forge Captain Kyle Bekker and Mitch Houlihan bring you the Captain's Log on the Forge Audio Network.
Hey sports fans, thanks for coming out to another Captain's Log. Mitch Houlihan here with Forge Captain Kyle Edward Bekker, number 10 in your hearts, number 1 in your program. Yesterday, we learned Forge is locked in for a massive home and away piss-up down the QEW against TFC in this year's Canadian Championship semifinal rounds. Looking forward to hearing Kyle's thoughts on a second crack at the former club and where he started his professional career. With how exciting Can Champ's been, displaying some of the best talented young players in Canada this year, we'll be getting some insights from Kyle on this and a bit of advice for younger players drawing off his own experience becoming a professional. Being former teammates growing up and all around longtime buds, I've had a front row seat to that career and start at TFC. One that I think can be best described by one of the game's all-time greats in one of the best athlete interview answers of all time.
It wasn't bad, was it?
Gaza.
It wasn't bad, was it?
All right. Take her easy. So we'll kick things off with a longer version of that clip.
Yeah.
Obviously can't just gloss over that. Gaza with the best answer ever.
Yeah.
Dave, give us the full version.
I mean, when you think he had the operation, 5 weeks, played once in midweek, and here he was, playing for an hour. And there's no question he gave Spurs the launching pad.
I'm now away to get my suit measured. Yes!
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Look at this. Dude, this Ellie is so good. What an absolute character.
Yeah. I forget the story behind that, but
he just
he was
unplayable in the first half. Like, he was unreal. And so he was just taking the piss out of the interview.
Yeah, but before they must have been chirping him for being fat or something. 'Cause he says he's going to get his suit measured or something. Yeah,
I don't know. He was probably busting out of something. But dude, so we were talking about that clip, me and Eddie. And have you heard this, Jem? Obviously, this guy has a million Gaza stories. England legend. Yeah, everyone's got him. But I was telling him about that clip. He knew what I was talking about right away. And he goes, "Oh, did you hear about have you seen him when he rocks the Ginola wig?" So I guess David Ginola was leaving at the end of the season, or it was announced that he was leaving. Yeah. And this guy comes out of the tunnel for a warmie in a full David Ginola wig, just sprinting around the field, being like, "David, don't go, David." Legend. You just can't teach that. Can't do that anymore.
Honestly, do you think? I was thinking about this when I was watching it too. Like, just because everyone gives the most boring answers ever, do you think it's just? I mean, he's obviously just a 1 in a million character. Like, he couldn't turn it off. But like, Is it just like the choice of not creating more questions for yourself by doing like loud stuff in interviews? Like, because I feel like
you have to be a different breed.
Yeah,
like, it's so every time. Like, how many times have we spoken about it? Where it's like, dude, stop giving crap, boring interview answers. But it's just not in my nature. And I think I don't know I honestly think if you did it here and you just started all of a sudden, I think you would just come across as a bit of a wiener. Like, I don't think people would get it. Like, you're either a million miles a minute and like, that's just who you are. Like, I think the closest one we got right now in sports is Anthony Edwards. And I'm sure a lot of people are rubbed the wrong way. But that guy is an absolute gold mine. He's hilarious and he backs it up. He's good. But like, the other side of it is I don't think anyone can handle it. So then there's just the whole other side is just rooting for the downfall, just to be like, I told you so. You were mean in an interview. It's like, he wasn't mean. He just is what, like, how many times everyone comes away from a sports interview and is like, "Oh, that was so boring. Cookie cutter answer. We want more personality." Someone does it and then immediately it's like, "Ugh.
Yeah.
What are you doing?"
Or The only thing worse than a boring athlete interview is an athlete trying to be funny in an interview.
Awful. Yeah, that's not great either.
So yeah,
like you either got it or you don't got it.
It's got to be genuine.
Yeah.
You can't be like cooking up bits.
Oh, dude, if you're sitting in the lab with your buds, be like, oh, this guy's gonna. I'm walking off field. You'd be like, what did you see on this goal? Then you're just gonna come and just give them just something you've practiced and rehearsed. Get out of my face.
Especially because if you're rehearsing lines for interviews like that, then you're just going to be stuttering and like nervous and messing them up, looking like an
Or
idiot.
you're just going to be super trigger happy, just waiting for it. And it's like, that wasn't even the question that was asked. It's like, you're basically going to come away with when someone at the airport gives you your boarding pass, like, have a good flight. Thanks. You too. Yeah.
100%.
Like, all right, bro, I'm getting in my car and I'm going home after this. I'm at work.
All right. Well, we just nailed that. But maybe, Dave, we were talking about some bits. Maybe we should just do that, though. We'll come up with a couple bits for your interview game.
Couple practice interviews here on the log.
Yeah.
Let's do a couple
new material.
Yeah, we got to workshop a couple things. So you come in with some just awful sports interviews, and I'll come in and we'll rehearse a couple bits, see what we can come up with. And then we'll never ever do them.
And then, yeah, we would also have to give a script to the person asking the questions.
Yeah,
so that what you said doesn't
all
happen.
around. It would be terrible.
Yeah, all right. Let's drop that idea.
Keep her going.
Keep her going. Yesterday, big news. I don't know. Whatever. Draw for
big news.
Yeah, no. I draw for semis of the Can Champ. Yesterday, I texted you at 10, and I said, "What's happening with the draw? Who we do know who we're playing?" And you said, "Yeah, like when they play on Wednesday, we'll know."
Yeah,
and it was Wednesday.
I didn't know it was
game
Wednesday.
time. So you're locked into the rest of
the Just old Kyle tapped in Bekker. That's what they call me.
Yeah.
Unreal.
So we got TFC. How we feeling?
Yeah, I think it's great. It's awesome. Obviously have a bunch of boys in the room who have some ties to the club one way or another, whether it was through the academy, playing with the first team. Obviously, we had a kick at the can a few years ago playing in that final, the delayed final at Tim Hortons Field, which was great, but felt a little hard done by going to PKs and losing, which is always tough. So another chance against a big opponent.
Was that the same Can Champ setup?
No, it was different. It's changed. I think they've increased it.
Wasn't that just winners of the leagues?
Oh, well, that was just because it was a COVID year. So we didn't actually have the full tournament in 2020. So they said whoever won the Island Games was going to just play the final. It was like that, and then some other. I don't know how they decided it was TFC. I don't really remember how the MLS teams got picked, but us and them. And then,
what do you remember from that game?
I mean, it was an unreal atmosphere, and I think we showed up, and it's not sound like a broken record here on this pod talking about Forge versus
soccer?
MLS opponents. No, just soccer. Similar to the most recent home game against Montreal, that the school day game. Came out, we were on the front foot. We were giving it to them, and then we just didn't finish chances. And obviously they had a ton of quality. Pozuelo was on their team at the time, and that guy was an absolute baller. Watching him just kind of trot around the field and just make it tick. Guy could play with both feet. He was unreal. Guy was just spraying half volleys with left and right foot. It was unreal. Yeah. But yeah, we just didn't take our opportunities, and then he actually scores, so they go ahead, and then Borges, we had a unreal response, kind of just went for it. Again, I think we've even talked about this too. One of those things when you're playing against a bigger opponent, I think everyone's always like, oh, it's going to be so hard, but sometimes they actually give you more opportunity to play because they know they can't just go guns a-blazing, like pressing for full 90 minutes. So they actually do give you the respect and have time to kind of like build up, and you'll have moments when you have time on the ball. It's just a matter of what you do with it, and they're always just waiting to kind of set you up into a trap where they can go and they just obviously go with numbers, and that's where it almost feels overwhelming. But the response after that goal was huge, and then Borges was able to tie it up. And I think we even had they did too, but late in the game we had a few chances where we could have gone up and snuck it. Yeah. And then it's difficult in those ones that just go straight to pens, and
that's
obviously unfortunate.
What you just said of them, actually getting respect and getting time on the, I think that's explains a lot of what Bobby and you guys did tactically for Montreal. That's what's cool. Yeah. It's like these CPL-MLS matchups aren't like shit your pants, just defend, like let's try to hang on. Like you guys just executed a plan. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, I think there's two sides of it. So when you're playing against a quote unquote bigger team, the big thing you have to do is you have to start well. You have to give yourself a chance. Like you have to be able to get into the game, get into the flow of the game, and allow your team to kind of build on that and build on that momentum. Like if you come out and you give up a goal real early, then it can be a very difficult night.
The old punched in the face.
You don't want to get punched in the mouth right away. You want to start well and you want to end the halves well. And I think we've benefited from it, and we've also shot ourselves in the foot with that throughout either Can Champ or CONCACAF competition. And we've seen it, like in the home leg against Chivas, we talked about that, like unreal response to tie the game up in the first half, and then giving one right up before the break. It's just so difficult. And when you play against a good team, they're comfortable sitting in their block. They're fine. They know how to protect the lead. They know how to manage a game. And so those little things, those little intricacies, they're just the best. So it becomes more of a chess game when you're playing those games, which is sweet, versus just sometimes playing in your domestic competition. It can just become either physical, becomes a little bit of a basketball match where it's just going transition back and forth, and the better teams find ways to manage it and get through it, which is great. But those are the cool things about playing in these, especially in cup competition too. It's so much of it comes down to game management.
Yeah. I'm not great at remembering what happened in games, but that game against TFC, I remember they weren't that great like that season, so they were kind of reeling a little bit. I think a lot of people were saying that you guys were the better team, deserved to win. Other reason I remember that game is because I was at a family function with the entire family watching the PKs.
Then obviously I pooped my pants.
You ruined the family.
Ruined the family barbecue? Ruined Thanksgiving, you idiot. Unreal.
Everyone left.
Hey, it's not the first time I've ruined a Thanksgiving in my life, so we're good.
Yeah, so the home and away too, which is sick, because we only got the finals last time we played them, right?
It'll be cool to see how we can travel down to BMO, how the battalion gets up for that one.
Yeah,
that'll be sweet. Because we know TFC's they've got good support, and obviously, I mean, it was a final, but I'm gonna assume they're gonna come down with some numbers and have a good little supporter section at Tim Hortons Field, which is gonna be great. Makes for an unbelievable atmosphere. A little midweek under the lights too. Come on.
Only thing better would have been if it was at 11 a.m. Those are our favorite game times.
Yeah, we're not mad at
it. But I mean, I think we can expect a big turnout for both. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's one the league can definitely market, which is sharp. I think anytime you're playing for a trophy too, I think the TFC fans will be up for it as well. So
yeah, well, and like you said, it was kind of a weird one, the finals last time, like just for fans and whatever. Like it was probably not like more, but I think something that'll like add to it this year is like people are starting to see around here that like CPL teams are beating MLS teams. So it's like it's. I think this year's Canadian Championship has probably, and now just the story, both semis are CPL versus MLS. Like, come on, it's scripted.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone's thinking that like either of those clubs are going to be taking it easy. So it's going to be I think it's going to be some pretty, couple more big games.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Under the belt. Did you, in that first game, I mean, that was still what, second or third year into the CPL?
2021.
Do you think you were harboring any feelings toward TFC when you were playing that game?
No.
You didn't
Same
think
with
of it at all?
Montreal. No, it's
Not
is
good
what
or
it is,
bad.
and
Maybe harboring that was a leading question.
yeah, no, definitely
I
not.
didn't mean it in a
There's-
negative way, but like, yeah, you played at TFC. Now you're going back. You're playing against them.
Yeah, I think it was just. I think a few years earlier, maybe, but like being back playing against them with Montreal, and then playing Montreal a few times
True.
now, like neither of those. It's not like I was a diehard supporter of TSC growing up, anything like that. So I don't really feel like I have any allegiance to them. Like it's pretty cool. Started my career there, but pretty quick to move on from that one.
From the question or from the club?
No, from the club. Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
ooh, going back, feeling this. It's I think it was more so just the point in time we were at. Like Forge playing against MLS team was more so about like the moment and being up for it to show well, just to showcase that we have a bunch of young talent that is good and can play at that level, can compete, right? So just I think the responsibility to try and lead a group, to give everyone the motivation to go out and put their best foot forward. To be like, guys, I train with you guys week in and week out. I've been on the other side, obviously a few years removed, but you guys have the ability to be there and to push yourselves on to something bigger and go on and achieve more in your career. So I think just that's all I'm feeling in that moment. There's no, I wouldn't say bitterness.
Can Champ in general, like what are you, because like for 6 years you've been, just going on about how good the CPL is going to be for talent in Canada. But when you're seeing stuff like this year, we're seeing like League One, we're seeing like the team in Quebec playing up, like everyone's getting showcased. Like it's doing what I think we had imagined it would be doing. So like from your point of view, what do you see in like for, why is this good or whatever? What are you thinking for, just like in general, what's Can Champ like for the league, for everyone in Canada now?
For me, the biggest thing is it's just more doors open for guys. So it's giving them a platform to go out and compete, go out and play, give them like the taste of what it is. It also adds a wrinkle for the guys who are playing at the quote unquote higher level to go in and see if you can do it at a lesser venue with less people there. Maybe you're not playing on the best surface that you've been accustomed to week in and week out. You're not in the best facilities. But the reality is that some of these guys aren't necessarily playing week in and week out. So it's that little bit of the FA Cup stuff. Like it's nice. Like it's a chance for us to continue to push this game forward in this country. I think when you see some of the results you've seen, when you see some of the individual performances, it just furthers the point that we have a ton of talent in this country and we need more opportunity. And so it kind of just furthers that conversation of how do we keep building this league to continue to propel everyone forward, which in the long run is going to make our national team better, like all the way down the line. Like if you have more and more guys who are getting their foot in the door and showcasing their ability and showcasing that they want this opportunity and are willing to take it, then you're just going to keep pushing it all forward. In turn, you're going to see younger kids who are watching it who have never heard of a guy playing that maybe goes out and makes something special, and all of a sudden he's like, I want to be that guy because that moment stuck out to me. You know what I mean? Gives them a chance to dream about something. Everyone likes the underdog, and that's what these tournaments are about in terms of just putting that on a pedestal and giving guys a platform to go out and do it. So I don't know, it's pretty cool.
So for like, I mean, now in these games where there's essentially 3 different levels, 2 or 3, whatever, levels of like professional down to, I mean, there's just like amateur players playing. And I was thinking about last night at soccer, Nick Crease, this just came up. But when you came and played with us at like 10 years ago, like obviously it's not like you're like coming out playing with like non-pro guys running around like dribbling through everyone and scoring. But he said like the thing that he remembered is just like when you would shoot, like it would whistle, and he was like, "What is that? No, nobody here can do that." So there's like obviously, I mean, I think there's like skill things. There's like a lot. I mean, it's a big question, but I mean, even for us, like playing together, like, you know, we're 10 in the backyard. Like, I'm taking games from you. I could probably still take some games from you in the backyard, but like, I mean, now that these guys are matching up against each other, like, you know, what's to you, like, and I know there's probably a million things, but it's like, what's the biggest difference for these guys that aren't pros to pros? Like, what's that difference? And how can they second part after that is like, obviously for those guys, young guys trying to become pros, how do they go from that to that? What's the difference and how do they get there?
I think the biggest thing in those moments is if you come up against a team that can just manage a game, there's always going to be individual performances in it where you're like, oh, that guy wasn't great, that guy's whatever. And like I think the quote unquote underdog in that moment can always come away with a little bit of their chip on their shoulder and be like, oh, that guy's crap. I think it's always easy to say that. The day in and day out stuff, the stuff we don't see, like the grind of being a pro, all of that stuff, like you don't know how some of these guys train. Like everyone can come in and on a day, 90 minutes, be unbelievable. I think as a whole, in the bigger picture, you're going to see the team, if they're well managed, if the group is together, if that culture in that club is a strong one, you're going to see a team come together and just manage the game better. And it's like heads and tails. Yeah, like these guys, they didn't necessarily do anything that was unbelievable, but it was like when push came to shove, like everyone on that team could knock it. Everyone on the team was tactically sound. Everyone knew what was going on. They were a collective versus like individuals who can, for 90 minutes, kind of play out of their skin. Not to say they don't have talent, not to say that like that isn't them showcasing what their potential is and that they can go on and do something special. I think it's just the big thing is in those moments is you see the professional side. If it is a good group that is together, then they're going to find a way to just see that thing out. And like they become very difficult to break down. They win their individual battles throughout the game. Like their collective will win more duels. They'll win more fouls. They'll win more, whatever it is. They'll just wear that team down. And even if it's not like their sharpest 90 minutes, I think you'll see it in spurts where it's like, they will outshine the opponent. But on the other side of that, if you come in and you have a shitty attitude and you have a bunch of guys who think they're bigger than that moment, I think the beautiful thing about soccer is and something like this tournament is you have these little communities who can rally behind this group, and it becomes like a little bit of that David versus Goliath. And there is that, okay, we're gonna steal something from them here. If you guys aren't gonna respect us, if you guys are gonna think you're just gonna walk in here and this is gonna be easy for you, yeah, we're gonna make you guys suffer. And I think that's the special thing. I think more so in soccer than any other sport is it can be a level playing field when you get into that. If you don't have that respect, right. if you have a little bit of that overconfidence, I think football can humble you.
And that's like, it's the thing about sports that obviously keeps it, it's never the same. No two players are ever the same. Like, tell me why, like, I mean, if it were a science, like the first round of the NHL draft or any draft would be like, they'd all be great pros, but like just doesn't happen. So here's, hey, tell me what you think about this. Here's a question for you. Two types of players. Like one is a super talented kid, like all the skill in the world. What do they need to do? And obviously, like, I don't know, mentality is like a big thing, but then, I mean, there's tons of players that are more role guys. They're like that you've seen, make it, but definitely haven't been like skilled, talented, top prospect guys. What do you think like gets the talented kid to the next level and also gets the, you know, teammate kid?
Work ethic. It's such a boring answer, but honestly, it's that. Like, work ethic over everything is something a coach is going to want to work with. A guy is going to want to, the guy beside you is going to run through a wall for you if you're willing to just every single day you're showing up and you're just like, yeah, I'm going to put a shift in, regardless if I'm an absolute baller and the best player on the team, or if I'm like, I know my role, and my role is I'm going to outrun, I'm going to outwork, I'm going to fight for every tackle, I'm going to go up for every header, I'm going to try it, like everything, no matter what. I'm going to be a good teammate. I'm going to be in the gym after. I'm never going to show up late. I'm never going to make it about myself. Like, the work ethic is everything. It's at the end of the day, it's just something people respect, and it's what you need in a group. And it sounds corny and I think it's lame, but over time, when you like play with a guy who has it, it's like you just respect the shit out of it. It's so easy to come in and be like, coach is pissing me off, or I wasn't in the lineup and this guy was in the lineup. I can put a ball top ends. This guy can't do anything. Like, come on. Huh. And you just overlook all the other good stuff he's doing because you're just sour and you're bitter, and you know deep down that this guy is doing all of the right stuff over and over, and it just wears you down. Like, it's so impressive to do it, even when you're not necessarily getting the reward. But any guy that I've played with that has it, you're just like, damn, buddy, like, relax. I think it's human nature to want to just like chuck it in and be like, I need a day off. Like, I don't want to do it every single day. Like, you're just doing the right stuff every day. Like, yeah, I'm going to show up early every day. I'm going to stay later every day. I'm going to walk in with a smile on my face. Like, I'm guilty of it. I'm the worst. Like, even when I think that I've changed, you're just like, or change, not necessarily changed, but like when you have all these good habits and you've kicked all the bad stuff, you're still going to show up on a day when like other stuff outside of football is just jamming you up. Like, even if something silly is like, I didn't need traffic, didn't need it. You show up and like, it grinded me up so much. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm good. It, like, threw off my day. All right, a little later than I want to be here. I said I was going to be in early. Half an hour later than I want to be. You're still on time. You're like, all right, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go through that. I'm good, man. I'm frustrated. Chuck it. And by all accounts, you're still doing the right stuff. But there's that guy in the corner who's like, yeah, I'll do another set. I'll do another rep of that. But you want to go out early? I'll be there. It's crazy.
How much of that do you think is learnable stuff?
All of
Some
it.
people it's just built in. But what do you do day to day? Hey, like, remember this week when I was asking you about Forge's center mid tactics, but I was really just asking so that I could learn how to play for my men's league team.
Yeah. Yeah, and
what do you do day to day? What are the, but like, okay, work ethic, but like, what do you tell yourself every day? What are the simple little stupid points that it's like, how do you develop that?
Control what you can control is the biggest one. So much shit is out of your control, and so much of that stuff you let get to you, and you just chuck it in. Like, simple stuff. You're like, oh, this guy missed a pass. I'm gonna be upset now. Like, why? Why? He was trying to think. How many, like, if I look at myself, for example, and again, this is me being like, I'm guilty of this. How many times in a game will I try something that by all accounts is dumb, but when it comes off, it's special? And you're like, that was great. Oh, Kyle, you're so clever. Oh my God, you can't do that. Someone else tries to pass and it's like, oh, what are you doing? You're like, why? Maybe he saw something that I didn't see.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you just flip it, I'm not trying to say be a cheerleader at all, because that's like, I'm anti that. Like, this isn't like some kumbaya nonsense. But just control what you control. You can control your body language, you control your attitude, you control your work ethic. And those three things, inevitably, if you're doing stuff at a high level over and over and over, it starts to pay off. It's crazy. It's worked.
I think that's like the off field version of people that are like ball hogs, and they just don't realize that if you pass the ball, you get the ball more.
Oh,
It's like if you
100%,
just work harder for the team, then the team will work harder for you.
Well, the other side of that too is like those guys who are quote unquote ball hogs.
Ball hogs.
Ball hogs, like they're good, like they're sick. You have an ability to go and take people on one-on-one.
Yeah.
People want to put you in a position to go and be successful. So sometimes when you've drawn in 4 guys and you're dribbling around, if you make a pass, that means 4 guys are out of the play and you guys could maybe go on and do something. Or you draw a guy in, you play a little 1-2, you go on, and then you're running at someone higher up the field. Sweet. Yeah, on the flip side, like sometimes dribbling out of pressure is fantastic and you can create stuff. So it's just that balance of when do you play it, when do you go at someone. But I think sometimes you're like, oh, I'm so good, I can do it all by myself. You're like, yeah, but maybe just make a pass and then you can get it again, go on and just make a couple people, do something special, hit them with the old double step over, you're sick.
But I think how much of that is, and when we're talking like an individual like player thinking about the stuff like themselves, right? Like, because a big part of that too, like, I mean, especially with younger players, like if you have a good coach, they'll figure out how to use everyone's like talents the best way that it can be. Mm-hmm. It's like any team, like utilize people's strengths. But like, what if you have a shit coach that doesn't do that? Like, how are you, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's again.
How can you work on that like individually, or think about that individually? If like, you know, obviously like coaching and having proper mentors and that's all, you know, vital. Mm-hmm. But I mean, not everyone has that, obviously.
Yeah, I think like an easy answer would be like, oh yeah, watch your game film, but no one wants to do that, and it's kind of boring. So then, but in the film, then you can realize like, oh. When I was running out this guy or I created this, I drew a couple players in, this was maybe another option I could have done at this moment. It's like the timing of it. The other side is just simply repetition. Like you have to try different things. Like if it's not working, you're doing the same thing over and over, then we're going to hit them with the old classic definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. But on the other side of it, it's like, especially if you're a young player, you got to be bold enough to go in and try and make mistakes. Ideally, your coach is sitting there pumping your tires and being like, okay, go again. So you're not getting beat up by failure thinking this is bad. You're responding to it negatively. But I think you have to then, if you don't have the people around you to do it, you have to look at yourself and be like, okay, I tried this 3 times. I'm going to get, or 3 or 4 times, whatever it is. It didn't work. Maybe I have to try something different. And it's not like forget that. It's literally just do something different. So then maybe you see a different reaction from the opponent that maybe then you can exploit with the first thing you were trying. So it's like if I'm a winger and I'm going at this guy and I keep trying to go beat him down the line, it's not working. Why don't you try to take him inside? Why don't you try and connect with the midfielders checking in to play with you or something like that? You have to switch it up. Like if you just do the same thing over and over and it's not working, you got to give him a different look to then see how that guy bites on it, to then go the other way. So I think there's some stuff you can do by yourself.
All right, I just thought of this. Rapid fire.
Boom.
Cap this off, and give us some stuff I think to talk about, like moving forward too.
Do it.
So you can't use work ethic anymore.
Yeah,
you covered that, but let's go rapid fire at each stage. So most important thing for youth kid trying to go like NCAA or League One or next level.
Repetition.
All right.
Yeah.
Next level. Most important. NCAA trying to go pro.
That's tough. I think repetition.
Not boozing.
Repetition. Maybe just sit out a couple 30 racks on the weekend after a game.
Still repetition there.
Well, honestly,
in what way?
When you first started it and you said the youth, and then you said the youth, and then you jumped to kids going to NCAA. I thought we were going to start with you're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old youth. And that's like the big repetition thing.
Okay, yeah. Like real young repetition.
Yeah.
Okay. And then like competitive challenging for Ontario Cups, youth soccer. whatever, 16.
So I'm gonna say that I think the most important thing is, and not say repetition again, but like you want to be, like you need to be playing, and sometimes that might seem like you're playing on a lesser team, but like you got to play.
I think that's a big one. That's a tough decision. You're on a sick team, but if you're not playing full 90s, I don't know.
And I don't want to like you're obviously, if you're on a very good team, like there's going to be guys who start on the bench. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, I'm not saying, if I'm not playing, screw this, chuck in the towel, because there's something beautiful about, all right, I'm going to earn my spot, and when I get it, I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to make the guy who I just took it from like suffer to get it back. Not in a negative way, just in a way where like you're doing all the right things. But I just think you got to be playing, like always. If you're like up until you're, and even like all the way up until like a young professional, like you need to play minutes at every single level, at the highest level that you're playing at of your ability. Like you need to be playing week in and week out. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, that's just, that's experience. Like you got to put the hours in. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, then now we're cooking. Now we're going to the next level. We're going either pro or we're going NCAA, whatever. We're continuing to play.
I would say if you're in the NCAA, U18. It's like you need to be relentless in what you're doing to like break through to that next level. It's like everything you're doing, whether it's on field, like when you're in the game, like you got to be taking your chances. You got to be ruthless about it, just to try and showcase yourself. So like you want to give yourself as much of an opportunity for people to have eyes on you. So whatever you're playing it, like you need to. Every game has to be a final.
At that time is a small window.
And it flies by. It's crazy.
Yeah. Even it like
mine was very weird because when I was there, I was like. Yeah. It was in the back of my head. I was like, I knew what I wanted to do, but I also was kind of like that dream slipping away.
Right.
And so I'd be lying if I said I didn't go into games, or I was like, I kind of just chucking it isn't the right word because I always love playing, but like, I wish I was a little more fine tuned in the end game, because there's definitely ones that spoke like I can look back and think at where it's like, well, like there was a fire lit for that game. Where was it? In the following Tuesday.
Right.
And then, so are we talking pros now?
Yeah, now we're talking someone took a chance on you.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So this is consistency and patience. Not patience in like you're going to be content and like, oh, it'll happen when it happens. Like patience in think further down the line, but like everything still has to be like the short term has to be matched with the long term goal. But like if it's not happening in 2 months, there's no panic. If it's not happening in 3 months, there's no panic because you're like staying true to what you're doing. Right. So like looking down the line, but like making sure what you want in 5 years is like you're working towards it on the Monday of that week. And then consistency with that.
And when you retire, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, because it's so easy to just be like, oh, I want to play. Like the classic.
Yeah.
It's happened 9 million times. It's happening to every single kid who plays in the CPL. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do in your career? Oh, I want to play in England. I want to play in Europe. I want to do that. Cool. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? You could play in a pub team in Europe. The hell is that? What does that look like? How do you get there? What are you going to do about it? So it's like sick. You want to play for Real Madrid. You want to do that in 5 years. What are you doing now to make sure that happens? What does that look like? How many minutes? How many passes? Whatever you want per game, per day, but whatever. How is that matching up to give you the best opportunity to go and do that? And then maybe you fall somewhere in between, but it's all streamlined.
Boom. I like that. Let's, I think you obviously have a very, you have experiences that not many people have that you can share. Like you have a very, a set of skills you can use to teach the youngins. And I, like, honestly, when I was even some of the things that like you told me, like I said, like I have never heard that about the game of soccer. And like
that speaks to like the landscape of like,
if I had those couple tips 10 years ago, you know where I'd be.
100%. There's no denying
10
that.
years ago, fucking 20 years ago.
Yeah, we're old as shit, buddy.
What?
We're old.
Oh, I thought you said I'm shit.
No, I said we're old as shit.
But that would have been fair too.
Oh no.
All right. What do we got next? What's today? What's on the weekend?
Big game against York this Saturday at home at Tim Hortons Field, 4 p.m. Need everyone out there. Apparently, we're expecting a big crowd, which is nice.
Yeah. How come?
Big bounce back game for the boys. We need it. Obviously, York's going to be gunning for us. We got the best from the last 2 games. They got a new coach. Everyone knows you get a new coach, the boys are firing. Everyone's playing for spots, so they got a little extra motivation on that side.
New coach,
not to mention the 2 dubs that we got on them this year. So I think it could be a little spicy.
Yeah. So we're Saturday against York. Big bounce back. Holy Lord! Look at the time here. Dave's got to go. All right.
Dave's got to go. See everyone next week. Thanks for tuning in. It's the old Captain's Log.
This was The Captain's Log with Kyle Bekker and Mitch Houlihan. The guys will drop another episode sometime, whenever they get to it. In the meantime, we would love and appreciate for you to like, follow, subscribe, click on the little bell, do all the things in all the places you get entertained, and you'll find more of this type of content. And that also means we get to spend more time together on the Forge Audio Network.